high-voltage campaign for Phase 1 ends as parties make a final push for votes. 91 seats are up for grabs and over 1,200 candidates will battle it out for these seats across 20 states. A deadly Maoist attack kills BJP MLA Bhima Mandvi and 4 others in Dantewada, Chhattisgarh. BJP lawmakers' convoy was targeted while he was on the campaign trail. The Election Commission springs into action after Prime Minister Narendra Modi urges first-time voters to dedicate their franchise to Balakot airstrike team. Meanwhile, 66 retired civil servants write to the president accusing the poll watchdog of favouring the central government. Revenue Department clarifies to the Election Commission that the IT raids conducted at Kamal Nath's residence are not political in nature and the search and seizure operations do not violate the Model Code of Conduct. This comes after the poll panel demanded that it be kept in the loop. Fears of a global economic slowdown gather steam as the IMF trims the 2019 outlook to 3.3% from 3.6%. This is the lowest growth projection since the economic crisis in 2009. The IMF expects India to grow at 7.3% in 2019 versus the 7.5% in 2020. Tax collections fall short by over 1 lakh crore rupees, including a direct tax shortfall of 50,000 crore in FY19. On the brighter side, the government manages to meet the fiscal deficit target of 3.4% on the back of higher borrowings from small savings fund. Top suitors including Etihad, Tata Group, the TPG Delta Combine and NIIF line up in the race for Jet Airways stake. But TT now learns that Etihad is moving fast in meeting lenders to secure a bigger seat in the cockpit. Good evening. You've joined us right here on the India Development Debate. I'm Taneia Bhardwaj. The much-awaited Lok Sabha election kicks off in less than 36 hours. The first fail will decide the fate of 91 seats in 20 states and union territories. Now, polling for Andhra Pradesh and Telangana that sends 42 MPs to the parliament will be over in one go. More than half of the northeastern states and the communally sensitive seats in western UP like Kairana and Muzaffarnagar will also go to the polls. The fate of the likes of Nitin Gadkari, Satyapal, Singh and Prime Minister Modi's fierce critic Asaduddin Owaisi will be sealed as well. On this edition of the India Development Debate, we're going to bring you a curtain raiser to Phase 1. And some of the questions that we're going to put forth to our panel is, can the BJP manage to retain its hold? Will this phase be the experiment of the alliances? Who stands to benefit politically from the Citizenship Bill? Before we discuss all of that, first, I'm going to cross over to my colleague Ruchi Bhatia, who's here to really put into context for us exactly what's at stake.
The dance of democracy is all set to begin on Thursday, and we will see voting in 91 parliamentary constituencies spread across 20 states and union territories. Look at the scale of it. 90 crore eligible voters, 8.5 crore new voters, and the Election Commission has put in place 10 lakh polling stations. Smaller states like Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim will see single-phase polling, while bigger states and more crucial ones like Maharashtra, UP, West Bengal will see polling stretched across multiple phases. Let's talk about some crucial states. The battle for Andhra. The key issues will be a three-cornered fight between TDP, BJP and YSRCP. The TDP, remember, walked out of an alliance with BJP after the demand for a special status was rejected. Chandrababu Naidu's political career, political future is at stake now. As far as Assam is concerned, remember, the big issue was the National Register for Citizens. Now, the Citizenship Amendment Bill figuring prominently in the BJP manifesto as well. How is that really going to play out for Assam is something that we will have to watch out for. In Bihar, there's going to be a fight between Modi's popularity, Nitish's governance and the might of the Mahagathbandhan. How caste arithmetic will play out versus development issues. As far as Telangana is concerned, the key parties will be the BJP, the Congress, the TRS and the AIMIM. Key issues at stake will be farmers' distress and unemployment, where are the jobs? Can KCR become the kingmaker once again? This is, of course, the big question we'll have to watch out for. And all eyes will be on India as to how India exercises its franchisee and who will take the Prime Minister's seat on the 23rd of May.
Well, that was my colleague Ruchi Bhatia. Then let's get straight to it. And first, let me introduce to you our panel for the evening. Joining in on this edition of the India Development Debate, Neejat Chaudhary. She's a well-respected political commentator and columnist. ASI Sekhar, a political analyst, joins in. So does Kishale Bhattacharya. He's a senior journalist, columnist and author as well. From the BJP, we've got Vineet Goenka with us, and Sanjay Jha of the Congress Party will join in as well. Well, what we're going to try and do is spend a considerable time on each of the states, and so we thought we'll start off with Andhra Pradesh as well as Telangana. And Sai Shekhar, this question really is for you. You know, Chandrababu Naidu says that the state's self-respect is at stake, but so is his political future in this election, isn't it? How big a factor do you think is the Naidu government's failure to get a special category status for Andhra Pradesh, despite being part of the Modi government for almost 4 years, going to be?
Good evening. Chandrababu Naidu has not promised special category status for the state, and it was promised by Dr. Manmohan Singh on the floor of Rajya Sabha. And the BJP leaders Arun Jaitley and Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, who were there on that day, they promised that the special category status to Andhra Pradesh would be extended not only for 5 years but for 10 years. And then once Chandrababu Naidu joined the NDA and he came to power, and NDA government, he failed to pursue the issue of special category status, and he somehow managed to, get the central government to sanction a special package equivalent to the benefits that would extend benefits equivalent to a special category status if accorded to Andhra Pradesh on a par with the other states which are enjoying the special category status. But then the financial assistance was extended by the central government, and Naidu actually lauded the special package, and he went about town telling everyone that special package is better than special category status. In fact, he spoke against the special category status and in favor of the special package on the floor of the State Legislative Assembly too. And then Jagan Mohan Reddy on his part has kept the pot of this special category status boiling from the beginning, because he clung on to that promise or demand, whatever, and Chandrababu Naidu had to make a U-turn towards the end of his alliance with the National Democratic Alliance or the BJP.
Sure.
And then he also started demanding special category status for Andhra Pradesh, and that is the central issue in this election, even though I am not sure whether Chandrababu Naidu, if elected, or Jagan Mohan Reddy, if elected, would be able to secure the special category status to the state.
Great. Mr. Sai Sekhar, I want to sort of keep it with you and just focus a little bit more on, both Andhra Pradesh as well as Telangana. Now, this election is also being dubbed as a make or break one for the challenger, Jagan Mohan Reddy, and his YSR Congress. Will he take the big prize, you think?
I would like to suggest one thing. In politics, there is nothing called make or break and decimation of one party forever. For your information, in 1994, in the combined state of Andhra Pradesh, when elections were held, Congress was reduced to 26 seats from being a ruling party out of 294 assembly seats. But that does not mean Congress was finished off. And when it came to as recently as in 2004, when Y.S. Rajashekar Reddy trounced the Telugu Desam of Chandrababu Naidu, Chandrababu Naidu was reduced to less than 50 seats in 2004 assembly elections in a house of 294. And in a subsequent election, that is in 2009 also, Chandrababu Naidu lost his power. I mean, Chandrababu Naidu was limited to the opposition, and Rajashekar Reddy retained power. which means Telugu Desam was out of power for 10 continuous years. That doesn't mean that the Telugu Desam is folded up. He again resurrected and became the chief minister in 2014. So, I don't see Jagan Mohan Reddy, even if he loses this election, I don't see him folding up his party, and would there be no opposition for Telugu Desam. Same way, if the Telugu Desam is losing the electoral battle, Chandrababu Naidu would not shut the shop. That is what I believe.
Mr. Sai Sekhar, I'll keep it with you. In 2014, you had Pawan Kalyan's Jan Sena that was part of the BJP, TDP combined. The party did not contest, but it managed to sort of transfer its support to the alliance. Do you think it can gain a huge say in who rules the state this time?
I have my own doubts about that because in my observation, Chiranjeevi's Prajarajam in 2009, which attracted large crowds, could not make it more than 20 seats. And Pawan Kalyan, who did not field any candidate in 2014 elections and supported Chandrababu Naidu and Modi combined, has actually transferred his vote to Telugu Desam, even though the vote could not be quantified, because he never fielded any candidate. This is the first time he is doing. And most of the candidates who were fielded by Pawan Kalyan's party are very unfamiliar to politics, and people are not familiar with their faces or acts. And no senior leader worth his salt has joined Pawan Kalyan's party, unlike his brother's party, which had stalwarts like P. Upendra, P. Shivashankar, C. Anjaney Reddy, a very senior retired police officer and all. Pawan Kalyan doesn't have many political leaders, senior politicians allying with him in his party, and I don't think Pawan Kalyan would be a kingmaker or something or anything like that.
Nirja, let's talk about Telangana. Given, the state's short electoral history and Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao's immense popularity, how do you think, Telangana is going to vote? Take, for example, the state elections in December. We all know the thumping victory, that the TRS managed to clock in, winning some 88 of the 119 assembly seats. Do you think this honeymoon period for KCR is going to remain?
That KCR will rule the roost also in the Lok Sabha elections. As you said, he is immensely popular, and he is immensely popular because of his welfare schemes, which he has designed for virtually every section, the smallest group. I've talked to the barbers, there's something special for every group. And then of course the farmers. And the center has recently modeled some of his, that PM Kisan Yojana is really been modeled on what KCR has done in Telangana. No, though it doesn't go the whole hog of catering to the those who don't own lands, only to the marginal farmers. But Telangana is a very interesting case of social welfareism, and welfareism is really coming back into our political discourse and political decision making. So, I think KCR looks that KCR will do very well, the TRS will do very well. One of the paradoxes of what has happened to the united Andhra, the state getting bifurcated, a decision taken by the Congress party, and yet the Congress is completely squeezed out both in Telangana and in Andhra Pradesh. It's one of the ironies of life, really, of where the Congress stands today in both the states.
Yes, let's ask Sanjay Jha then that. Sanjay, an irony, as Nirja says, Andhra Pradesh was a state where the Congress typically got a good chunk of its seats. Now with the bifurcation, you've been, literally sort of washed out in Telangana, exist only in pockets of Andhra Pradesh. What are the prospects you are seeing for your party?
Taneia, that is a hard political reality. I will not try and duck that question at all. I think Nirja is absolutely right. These are the ironies of politics. There was a demand for a separate state. It is a complex process. We went through, I think, a lot of discussions and consultations. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I guess, maybe one can look back in hindsight and talk about timing and some other decisions that we may have taken maybe slightly differently. But yes, you got to recognize that yes, we got marginalized in both Andhra and Telangana for a while. The truth is that Andhra Pradesh once was our most formidable bastions. Nirja will tell you, and I'm sure you know, that even when the rest of the country voted against the Congress on a couple of very landslide elections, Andhra always stood with the Congress party. But yes, going forward, we are optimistic. We are building our groundwork all over again. In Andhra, it's turning out to be a tougher job. But I think in Telangana, we see a clear breakthrough. We see that, although some things didn't work out as well as we expected in the assembly elections in December, we are a lot more, shall we say, bullish about the Lok Sabha prospects. So I don't want to make any forecasts, but you will see a very good performance from the Congress party. I don't know how many seats will it really tantamount to, but it will be significant number. But on a larger scale, if you're asking me a question, all I can say here is that this election is going to throw up a very huge surprise. This morning I was in a couple of opinion polls, and all of them seem to indicate that NDA has got a slight lead and so on. But the more we spend time on the ground, and I talk to a lot of our Congress workers and leaders who are campaigning all over the country, we see a definite change: jobs, rural distress, rising inflation, the attacks on the minorities, Dalits, the corruption, governance. There are multiple failures, monumental in size, of the Narendra Modi government, and we feel India is going to see a change.
Okay.
There will be a new Prime Minister who will be non-BJP, non-NDA.
Okay. Vineet Goenka, let me come to you, and will you be just as candid as your sort of peer from the Congress party is being, barring 2 or 3 seats, the BJP not even a factor in both Telangana or Andhra Pradesh? Your ally TDP deserted you, is now leading a sort of united opposition. You haven't been able to weave any new alliance in the state. What is your game plan?
So let me divide this particular conversation into 2 parts: the economical impact and the political impact there. Let me first talk about the economical impact. The Sagarmala project, which connects the port there and the roads, has been very, very successful. If you see, the entire Sagarmala passes through both the states. So if from that Paradip of the Orissa or Vizag there, or down there in Tuticorin, all these 3 are connected. The major chunk of the road which was built there, or the periphery roads was built where in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So I think that goes with Bharatiya Janata Party. A. B. I'll tell you another second part. The second part is the failure which was there. If you see both the states put together, there are 9 reserved constituency: Amalpuram, Bapta, Chittur, Alkurum, maybe Nagargol, Podapalli, Warangal, all these places. And you will be surprised to know, on the political side, both the states saw no development of SC/ST. Rather, the state government, the central government gave up 53,000 crore rupees all over India, and a chunk of part went there. So the state SC/STs feel that they were alienated by both the parties. Both the states felt that kind of heat. Third, TDP has lost its face because it has been seen as to be a backstabber party. So CB Naidu backstepped NTR, and now they have backstepped Bharatiya Janata Party. The entire credibility is at stake. And in Congress, people in Hyderabad and also around area, they feel they have deserted Narasimha Rao. So that political discourse is also going on, and if they are forgotten, we will remind them. So probably if you see, Congress is nowhere. Probably our chances are more there. We may have more vote shares. Yes, we may not get too many seats, but I am sure we can get respectful seats there in both Telangana and the thing. But as far as Congress goes, I think they are wiped out.
Okay,
and if you see what is happening with their alliances.
Yes.
Everybody talks about their alliances, but
yes, Vineet, thank you. You made your argument. I want to move on to other states. So, Sai Sekhar, last question to you. How certain is it that, Jagan Mohan Reddy and KCR will side with the NDA when it comes to post-poll alliances? Or do you expect that maybe, Jagan can go to the UPA given his father's legacy?
I don't think Jagan would bend this way or that way, except for he might go with whichever party that would give the special category status. If Narendra Modi falls short of 20-30 seats, and if Jagan can make it up, maybe he will go with Narendra Modi demanding the special category status. But if this dispensation coming up to rule in Delhi doesn't require these numbers, then they may not actually matter there.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Sai Sekhar. We're going to move on now. We'll talk about the Northeast and Bengal. And for that, I'm going to now take it across to Kishale Bhattacharjee. Thank you so much, Mr. Bhattacharjee, for waiting by. I know we're 20 minutes in and I haven't asked you a single question. But as I said, you know, we were just sort of trying to divide it systematically. 14 of the 25 seats in the Northeast going to polls in less than, 36 hours from now. My first question, can the BJP retain the gains that they've managed to make in the, past 5 years in the assembly polls in this region, you think?
Well, 2 months back, I would have said that BJP burnt its fingers because of the National Registry of Citizens and the Citizenship Amendment, the proposed amendment that was brought in. Just in the state of Assam, there were 70 organizations that mobilized people against the Citizenship Amendment Bill. For some reason, by middle of March, that wave, that anti-BJP wave actually started eroding. And the situation on the ground today gives some amount of advantage. I mean, BJP has been able to gain back that ground post their adventure / misadventure of Balakot, Pulwama, narrative. So in the 5 seats in Assam that are going to poll, except for Koliabor earlier used to be the actual bastion of Prafulla Kumar Mahanta. Gaurav Gagoi, Tarun Gogoi's son, that's his seat now. He's going to give a tough fight, but for the other seats in Tezpur, Dibrugarh, Lakhimpur, I think BJP has an edge over the other political parties, which is very interesting, given, like I told you, that even a month ago, the wave was anti-BJP. I'm told that the BJP has been able to enter the tea garden community, and as we know from previous elections for decades, that the tea garden community, as they're called, the Adivasi community, they do tend to vote en masse. So there is a possibility that if BJP has been able to enter there and gain their support, then the conversation and the news of BJP gaining in Assam probably is true. In Meghalaya, I wouldn't hazard a guess really. There are 2 seats in the Shillong area and the East Khasi Hills. It's Vincent Pala of Congress, who is the stronger candidate. I would put my money on Vincent Pala. In Tura, however, the 2 stronger candidates, one is Agatha Sangma, the daughter of Purno Sangma, the late Purno Sangma, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and Mukul Sangma, the former Chief Minister from Congress. Both are from Tura, both are strong out there, almost equally poised. If I have to give slight advantage, then that advantage would go to Agatha Sangma. Mukul Sangma is already saying that if Agatha Sangma wins, that is because there has been a prior understanding between the BJP and Conrad Sangma and Agatha Sangma's party. The rest of the Arunachal Pradesh, for example, Prime Minister Modi himself made several trips out there. The BJP has an advantage out there. But what really emerges from the election campaigning and the discourse in the Northeast is that there aren't too many seats in the Northeast. Why did BJP spend so much time and energy actually gaining ground in those states is something that I'm not being able to put my head around. In fact, the 2019 elections, the whole campaign started off, in my sense, is when BJP really decimated the left front in Tripura. That was the point when they actually started taking off, and the Citizenship Bill and the NRC created a dent. But just to repeat myself, they have been able to gain ground, is my observation.
Okay. Yeah, Neerja, I want you to actually weigh in on that. Kishale says that he hasn't been able to sort of wrap his head around why the BJP has spent so much time and energy campaigning so hard in the Northeast. And as you heard him say, it looks like at least, the muscular policy on the national security front, this sort of hyper-nationalism narrative seems to have worked somewhat.
2 things here. The Northeast represents 25 seats. That's if you put the 7 sisters plus Sikkim together. That's like a moderately sized state of India. So in terms of numbers, if you club it together, it does have weight. point number one. Point number two, it's the area where it's the crucible where the brown races of Asia meet the yellow races of Asia. And therefore, this area is really a bridge, India's bridge to Southeast Asia, and very critical for our security in many, many ways. And often we've tended to ignore the Northeast sensitivities to our own peril. So it's a good thing that the BJP has concentrated on this, but the Citizenship Amendment Bill that they tried to bring in and then backtrack at the last minute did not go down well at all, because the tribal communities of the area feel they will be flooded with Hindu migrants particularly from Bangladesh. So I think they are very fearful of their culture, their way of life being, overtaken by this flood that they think will come. So now the BJP somewhat revised its stand that we will not allow this to happen. The identity of the people there will be maintained and so on. But I don't think they have managed to quell those fears. Of course, the AGP has come back. Many parties, if you will recall, came out very vociferously against the bill. But I don't think they have managed to do it, and I think that commitment in the BJP's manifesto and Amit Shah's categorical statement that we will pursue it, I think is going to be problematic for the BJP in that area, including Assam, where they got 7 seats last time. Whether they'll be able to maintain that remains to be seen.
Okay. Kishore, I'm going to come back to you and talk about the Citizenship Bill. As you heard Neerja say, it's expected to play a very crucial role in the voting pattern, especially in the Northeast. You have your ear to the ground. Do you think it's going to help the BJP reap electoral benefits, or is it going to absolutely boomerang?
Is that they want to update the NRC across the country. So they've slightly changed their stand from the Citizenship Amendment to say that actually we want to focus on the NRC. NRC is something that in the Brahmaputra Valley was pretty much welcome, because the whole landscape and the soundscape of electioneering and of the political landscape and soundscape over the last 35, 40 years in the Brahmaputra Valley and other areas has been, of course, migration, illegal migration, foreigners issue, Bangladesh, etc. So that NRC can have, the response to that they would actually take it to the rest of the country. I think BJP understands the sensitivity out there. Just over the last 24, 48 hours, the sense that I got from the ground speaking to people is that they are making a clear distinction between Narendra Modi and BJP. So they would like to vote for Narendra Modi, but they have reservations against a party like the BJP. And this is pretty much sums up what the yearning of that entire region has been. Kind of longing for belonging to the larger mainstream, as well as trying to break away from that. So I think that this whole sense is actually plays into the whole kind of contradictory response that they've had over the last 70 years. I still think that BJP's gain in Assam is actually a little more than what happened last year, because I said over the last 1 month, as you said, hyper-nationalism, as I say, the adventure/misadventure of Balak is going to...
Yeah. Kishore, if I can just add to that, Bengal is also a state where BJP wants to increase its tally to arrest its losses. You've got, Cooch Behar and the Alipurduar seats that are going to polls on Thursday. The BJP there seems to have the edge. What would you pin that down to?
Well, Alipurduar and Cooch Behar's politics are slightly different. I won't claim that I know what's happening right there, but from my previous experiences out there, even the Muslim pockets of vote is somewhere that the BJP actually worked on over the last 5 years. And my information says that they have been able to gain some amount of ground, even the Muslim pockets of Alipurduar and Cooch Behar. So it is out there actually, it is not about the citizenship or the NRC politics. it's different from that. Overall, in West Bengal, I wouldn't say that the BJP would make adequate inroads, but in Alipurduar, Kuch Bihar, which will go to polls, the BJP stands to gain, at least in terms of vote share.
Great. Vineet Goenka, question to you, and do take on the criticism that's coming your party's way as far as the Citizenship Bill is concerned. Why is it that, the BJP is trying to make electoral gains at the cost of giving rise to, sectarian tendencies and fueling mass unrest?
No, either Sonia ji, you have considered us to be novice in politics and we don't understand politics, and two, you would have, you are trying to weigh electoral benefits over the interests of the country. I think we would prefer interests of the country first. I joined Bharatiya Janata Party with one slogan, which was given by Syama Prasad Mukherjee, and the slogan was very simple: Delhi ho ya Guwahati, apna desh apni mati. So probably the inroads which were made, and unlike what the previous speaker said, we did not do this for electoral gains. The whole idea was that in the last 7 decades, Northeast was not given any attention, and that's why, in the Ministry of Road Transport and Highway, a special organization was made, a company was made, NHIDCL, which made very good roads over there. I'll give you one example. There is a place called as Taru in Meghalaya. It used to take 11 to 12 hours to travel from Guwahati airport to that particular place. I and my task force members, when we visited that for 13 hours, we were troubled. And then now there is a road which you travel in 2.5 hours. Take another example, Zairo in Arunachal Pradesh. I took 24 hours to reach Zairo, but now you can go to Zairo in 6 hours. You understand the benefits of the economical benefits now go to the last man there. Bringing bamboo out of reserve and allowing bamboo cultivation and harvesting now will give an economical opportunity to those people who are there. Tea boards are being revived. Tea has been tremendously revived. The navigation of Brahmaputra has been revived. The bridge over Brahmaputra and 2 more bridges in the Bougainville. All that kind of development which has happened is unprecedented. Whatever you saw in 65 years happened in the last 45 or 50 months there. So probably that is the one case. Third part, if you talk about, you go to Jorhat, you go to Shivsagar, you go to Guwahati, they are all being connected to Imphal, Itanagar by various means. The airport connectivity, whether it is airport in Sikkim which came up the first time, or the other airport connectivity, or the hydel power projects on the Rangit river. Now all that talks volume. It took 65 years for a country to think about Northeast. Now you don't see Northeasterns coming to Mumbai, Delhi or Bangalore for petty jobs. They have enough jobs there. That speaks volume. So that confidence which has been built there, probably that is the confidence which we wanted. We didn't think about seats. Yes, things will be, it will be an outcome of this particular part, and I'm very sure there will be a very good performance of Bharatiya Janata Party. You talk to Lepchas, you talk to Khasi, you talk to I have spent extensive time there as my part of my task force there. Yes. And I haven't ground this thing. I don't know whether your panelists have ever visited there, but this particular experience of mine has been very, very good.
Okay. Vineet, 1 minute. I want to just give Sanjay Jha, a quick, in to sort of answer, and then I see that Kishile's hand is up as well. We will come to you, but Sanjay Jha, please do respond to that. I mean, the Congress, many would say, has also sort of disappeared from the Northeast. The BJP is at least expanding through alliances. Even some of your traditional seats of Kalebor and Barak Valley are under threat.
I don't want to read out some kind of a handout that says what bridge I built and what roads I built. I mean, the unemployment level is at a 45-year high, but, everybody is entitled to their opinion, but they're not entitled to their facts. So let me answer your question in brief. We have had a lot of people who have campaigned extensively in the Northeast. And I'm not going to tell you what they've said, but, expect some dramatic reversals there. I love the confidence. In politics, we love an opponent who's delusional or is politically arrogant. It's something we welcome. As far as the Citizenship Amendment Bill is concerned, I think everybody who knows the BJP knows that they are playing communal politics. There is an attempt to play on religious polarization. But this is the conventional standard operating procedure of the BJP. Now it's boomeranged, I can tell you, big time. Trust me, it's boomeranged big time. Not just in Assam, I'm talking about the entire Northeast. And we will see it when the results come out. So, end of day, to answer your question, I'm not going to make any tall statements, but we have enough ground reports to tell you that people there are not just angry, they are not just disillusioned. They feel there is a betrayal, there is insecurity, there is fear, and they all know that the party which is in power in the center is actually encouraged divisiveness. And they are worried because they live there. They know that these people sit in AC rooms in Delhi and play their chess boards and their machinations, but end of the day they are the ones who have to live with the consequences. And I think the people there are really disturbed.
Okay.
And you will see the manifestation of that when they come out to vote and when the results are counted on 23rd May.
All right. Kishore, you had your hand up. Please go ahead. Please make your point.
Yeah, just wanted to tell Vineet that one of the, Vineet, just a moment. Vineet, if you can hear me, one more thing that the BJP has contributed to the region is that the quarter of the lynching of people suspected to be carrying beef or slaughtering cows is coming out of Northeast. One has come just 24 hours back. Nothing of this sort was ever reported out of that region. So thanks to BJP for that polarizing and for this kind of a communal politics. I don't think so. You should be defending it at all. It's out in the open. And to Sanjay, I mean, when you say, I didn't want to point this out, but when you say delusional and arrogance to the BJP, you really have to look back at what the Congress was across the country and in that particular region. I don't want to go further into it. I'll leave at that.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And in fact, with that, I'm going to take a quick break here on the show, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to discuss UP, Maharashtra, Bihar and Odisha. Welcome back. You're watching the India Development Debate, the much-awaited Lok Sabha election kicking off in less than 36 hours. And here on ET Now, we're really continuing to put the spotlight on what the agenda is going to be in each of the states. Now, let's move on and talk about Uttar Pradesh. And Neerja, I'm going to come to you. In UP, of the 80 seats, 8 go to polls in this first phase. You've got seats like Saharanpur, Kairana, Muzaffarnagar. All of these, do you think, will be a real test of the BJP's might against the Mahagathbandhan? This is also where, there is polarization of Jats and Muslims. You've got sugarcane farmers that are under a fair amount of duress. All of these big issues, you think?
Yes, they are. I've traveled through this area and touched upon 6 of these 8 constituencies, and it's been very interesting because this area is highly polarized. I was in Devban 2 days ago where the Gathbandhan leaders launched their campaign, and the number of people who were there and very enthusiastic. It took me by surprise that kind of backing should be there for the SP, BSP and RLD who have joined hands together. But there it was essentially the Muslims, the Jatav amongst Dalits and a section of the Jats solidly with the Gathbandhan. But you have on the other side also almost entirely the forward castes and the most backward castes, who are very small in number, like Nai, Dhobi, Dhivar, but they add up to 30%. They are solidly with Narendra Modi. So it's a complete divide, but the joker in the pack is really the Congress party, the Congress which had lost its base, but wherever the Congress has put up strong candidates, as in Saharanpur, as in Kairana, as in Bijnor, they can be cutting into the Gathbandhan vote much more than the BJP vote. So will the BJP benefit from the Congress being in the field and fray and not being part of the Gathbandhan? That is the big question in this area, where actually the sheer force of numbers, had the Congress been part of the alliance, virtually every seat, maybe barring 1 or 2, would have gone to the Gathbandhan. So I think it's one of those things where there is unity of the opposition, where they are going to stop the BJP in its tracks, at least lower the numbers of the BJP from the 71 that they got in 2014, and yet not to the extent that they could have done, simply because that alliance was not a complete alliance.
But Nisha, as we head closer, do you suspect that the narrative, because you were talking about how it's so polarized, do you expect that the narrative is only sort of going to get more and more poisonous? And I'm saying this because you had Mayawati today asking Muslims to vote for SP, BSP, not let their votes go to waste, and then today you also had Yogi Adityanath's Ali versus Bajrang Bali jibe.
Yeah, of course, you see, this area is very polarized on Hindu-Muslim lines, right from the days of the Muzaffarnagar riots in 2013. This time people don't talk about it so overtly like last time, but that sentiment is beneath the surface still very alive. But it is not just that, it is as I say, the caste line polarization also is very, very strong. As I said, the Dalit Muslim combination is at the heart of the Gathbandhan support, and to that you add some of the farming communities like the Jats, the Yadavs, maybe a section of the Gujars where there is a Gujar candidate to make a winning combination. But if you have this solid phalanx being dented by the Congress, then that is advantage BJP. And today out of those 8 seats, only 1 I would say is safe for the Gathbandhan, which is Bagpat, whereas it should have been 7 safe for the Gathbandhan. So it's as I call it, a real tucker in this area between the two sides. And Modi, it's again, I would say, somebody said earlier, the people are looking not at the BJP, people are looking at Narendra Modi and Modi alone as a factor.
Why resort to communal overtones like Ali versus Bajrang Bali in your poll pitch? Are you worried that, the good people in Uttar Pradesh will not vote for your Achhe Din plank?
In Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, let me tell you, out of the 9.3 crore toilets which we have built across the country, maximum have gone to these 2 particular states. If you see the Janadan Bank, 33 crore bank accounts were opened, and major chunk has been opened in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. The third thing, after 150 years probably, we saw the first internal waterways been functioning and the terminal, the container coming to Varanasi. Then I went to Prayag, and when I went to Prayag, my driver was a Muslim boy, and he told me, sir, yahan pe sab khush hai. Reason is because Prayag experiment of the Kumbh gave employment to thousands of people, irrespective of what was their caste, their religion. It is the person who gets benefited, he thinks about the person who has given the benefits. I will tell you one more example. I have visited Gazipur, I have visited Gonda, Basti in the eastern UP. I had a chance to go to Hathras, I had a chance to go to Mathura and also Agra. People talk about the road which has been built up and the way law and order has been instituted, the way criminals have been handled here, the firmness which has been there, the way the Ganga has been cleaned, and I think that changes which are there in the UP. And if you go to Bihar,
you're not answering my question.
Vineet,
my question was then, if that is the case and you have so much to show for in the good work that you've done in UP, then why is it that the Chief Minister, insists on making the remarks that he did today?
No, I think, see, you choose to hear what? I choose to hear what from the common man. I chose to hear from common man. I didn't even hear that Mayawati called Congress as Nalayak. I didn't hear that because I was focusing on what the common man there was talking, and I heard common men talking there that they have road, they have got a, you go to Lucknow, they talk about metro which is coming up. So the weight has been coming up. I think that is the volumes, and these 2 particular states, it is changed, and I would give the credit to Yogi ji here and Nitish ji there. So both of them also deserve the equal credit what was done by this state. So it's on you what you want to hear. But I see Muslims of Uttar Pradesh, there is a change. Triple Talaq also is a discussion which has been done by young girls of Muslims. They remember Turkman Gate of the emergency days. So they said कि इंदिरा जी ने तुर्कमान गेट किया था, आप लोगों ने कम से कम हमको नौकरी पेट के लिए खाने के लिए तो दिया है. So I'll tell you one more thing. Priyanka Robert Vadra's entry was not taken very lightly by them. And this viral which is going on, if you see the WhatsApp and all this, there are something which is going viral on Priyanka Robert Vadra. And if you want, I can tell that in Bhojpuri. जिसके मैया भैया और सैया जमानत पे हैं, उसको देख के क्या हम वोट करेंगे? So you have to understand there is one economical benefit which has been given to them. They have tasted what is called as progress what Congress never did all this.
Vineet, I think we'll stop there. Vineet, I think we're going to stop there. Yes,
right.
Sanjay Jha wants to come in. Sanjay, let's just keep it with UP. You know, political watchers are saying.
I have been stopped every time,
yes.
you know, whenever I speak, and Sanjay Jha wants to speak, but he speaks what is totally irrelevant.
Vineet,
he didn't speak anything about Assam.
Vineet, I'm sorry, that's not fair. I think we've tried to be very equitable on this debate. It's unfortunate that you feel that way. I think we try and give each and every spokesperson here as much time. So please, I would really appreciate it. I'm just now going to Sanjay to respond. Sanjay, I'm talking about your party's prospects in the UP. Political watchers are saying that, you know, you will cut into the Mahagathbandhan's vote based on, you know, the analysis of your candidate selection. Please go on, respond.
You know, before I respond, Tanya, I need to just tell you that I condemn the abuse that is being indulged in, quoting WhatsApp. This is what India has been reduced to under Narendra Modi. Fake news, WhatsApp University. What a joke. But let me answer your question very seriously. As far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, it is a critical state, we all know. Look at the recent elections, which were the by-elections. Whether it was Phulpur, Gorakhpur, or whether you're talking about Kairana. Now, what's interesting about Gorakhpur and Phulpur was that they had Yogi Adityanath and the Deputy Chief Minister in the honeymoon phase. This was the honeymoon phase. They were the Chief Minister during the prime time of the UP government under a BJP, and they lost. It told you very clearly that the BJP wins when the arithmetic goes in their favor. In Kairana, the Congress joined the Mahagathbandhan and they lost again. And these were states that they had won with a big margin. So I want to let it be very clear here. The Congress party is fighting Uttar Pradesh to maximize the number of seats that we believe we deserve to win in Uttar Pradesh. At the same time, I'm not going to comment on what Mayawati or Akhilesh Yadav says. That's their problem. They are our political opponents. But I'm very clear, and I say so with full responsibility. We want the BJP, which is absolutely, you know, in our opinion, crude and communal, will divide society, will create Hindu-Muslim religious tensions like they did with Muzaffarnagar. That is their model. There is a whole study to tell you that the BJP encourages dividing and fracturing our society for electoral gains. It is there. It is a whole study. So the truth is, if you look at the language that they used, he talked of governance. There are children who died in hospitals because they didn't have an oxygen supply. There is encounter Raj. Will anybody forget the fate of that poor young girl who was raped and the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh tried to say it because the BJP leader was involved.
All right.
So I think we have reached a point in our conversation today where there is social tension, law and order collapse, nothing is happening to the economy, and Yogi Adityanath is a manifestation of the kind of dangers Indian democracy faces today.
All right, Sanjay, I'm going to come in there and I'm going to take it back to Neerja. Neerja, let's talk about Odisha. 4 seats going to polls there. Another state where, you know, the BJP is hoping to make gains. Do you find Naveen Patnaik more vulnerable than before?
You know, there are 2 opinions on this, and I don't have a direct feel myself of Odisha, but the feedback one gets, one is that Naveen Patnaik is holding his own, as was the case earlier, and will do well in the Lok Sabha elections also, as well as the assembly, because the 2 are being held simultaneously. The other is, since the BJP won in the local elections in 2017, that it's been on the upswing and that it would do much better than many people suspect. Now, I think I tend to go for the first round. The BJP will make gains both in West Bengal and Odisha in terms of vote share. No doubt about it, they will increase that. How much of that will actually translate into specific seats, I think remains to be seen. And that goes as much for Odisha as for West Bengal.
Neerja, also, you know, the bit about Maharashtra as well as Bihar, can again, you know, NDA sort of hold on to its 2014 tally in both those states, or do you think farm distress and ally trouble in both these states could be a spoiler?
I think 2 things will be a spoiler. Of course, as you say, rural distress is a big issue. the opposition coming together effectively are the other issues that the BJP and its allies will have to contend with, both in Bihar as well as in Maharashtra. Now, NCP Congress together as well as RJD putting together an alliance which most people say that it's again a real tucker in Bihar in terms of, you know, whether it's going to be 50-50, 60-40, but it is a tucker. And this area where the polls are going to be held, you know, the Gaya Jahanabad belt, the Naxal affected, is also very, you know, I remember visiting this area, and this where you have the Musohars, Jitin Manjhi's community. They are really the bottom rung of the Dalit communities. And a smattering, you know, the old MY of Lalu Yadav's party, Muslim Yadav, and when he was in power, he had got the smaller OBCs as well as a section of the Dalits to join in that alliance. And in the interim period, it was only MY left with Lalu, the others had gravitated to the other side, the BJP Nitish Kumar alliance, but some of these communities are now coming back to the Gathbandhan. So we need to see Bihar how that pans out.
Neerja, my last question, and I'm going to keep it with you. This was, of course, phase one. You know, before we sort of wrap this up, as a primer for all our viewers, in phase two, which are the big tuckers that, you know, we should be looking out for?
I think, you know, certain states are going to be every phase, and those are the states that we are looking at, or a large number of phases. That's going to be, you know, UP, Bihar, West Bengal, you know, the eastern states and Maharashtra also. The eastern states are being looked at with particular interest this time, because in the Hindi heartland, the BJP peaked last time. They cannot do better. Also West India, so they can only come down even if Narendra Modi is at the 2014 level. So where, and if you think that in any of these 6-7 states like Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, Gujarat and so on, that they will slump by say even 3-4 seats, say, or 5 seats, and on average that will mean a slump of 30 to 35 seats. And if UP also they slump by say even by 25 to 30 seats, that's a slump of 65 seats. Where do they make up this tally? South, they don't seem to be gaining very much, even if they maintain their tally of 17 seats in Karnataka. So where is this going to be made up? It's the eastern part of the country that you're looking at. Will they make a leap in West Bengal? Will they make a leap in Odisha? Will they, those are the two states that one is looking at. So I think East India is of particular importance this time in the final tally that emerges.
All right.
So all through your second phase also, all through your phases, these are the things you will be looking at.
All right, Neerja, thank you so much. And in fact, with that, I'm going to close this discussion. Sanjay Jha, Vineet Goenka and Neerja Chaudhary, thank you so much for sparing the time to join us here today on the India Development Debate. We'll take a quick break and come right back with Top 10 at 10.